Opposing it. I don't much for the speech.
I call the Right Honourable Winston.
Speaker, I have to say, we have to say at the very outset of New Zealand First that we have great sympathy for Jamie Lee Ross and some of the people who are behind this legislation outside of the House. And by that we mean that we wish to raise a very serious question, which is, does the National Party actually support this piece of legislation? They do? They do? Well, if that is the case, why is the bill being put up by, and there's no disrespect to Jamie Lee Ross, who's got my deep sympathy, why is this bill being put up by one of the most recent members to the government, to the government benches in this country? And he may be an outstanding member, contrary to the one that's opening his mouth at the moment. He may have a brilliant future, unlike the one opening his mouth at the moment. But the question that is sort of at the back of our minds starting to ask itself is, why, if this is a great piece of legislation, you see, that's Mr. Sabin's problem. He thinks noise means quality. He thinks volume means talent. That's the kind of thing that, you might hire to be a drover's dog down at the sale yard, but it doesn't work here. I want to know the real question. Does the National Party honestly support this legislation? Out there are businessmen and businesswomen watching tonight's debate, and my challenge to them, having been told the National Party's got this great bill to help them tonight, the question I'm asking them is, do they really think the National Party supports this bill? Because if it did, why is it not sponsoring it in its own name? Now, it's a fair question for me to ask on behalf of my colleagues, because unlike many in this House, we have always been reasonable, prepared to hear alternative arguments or to hear the other side. And when it comes to industrial relations, our view has always been that great governments take the role of an independent arbiter that does not take sides. If you have law like that, then laws can last decade after decade after decade. If you don't, out goes one side, the law changes. In comes the other side, the law changes back. And you have the yo-yo uncertainty in effect in industrial affairs at the workplace, and it's bad for everybody, boss and worker alike. So my question is, does the National Party support this bill? And if it does, why has it left Jamie Lee Ross all by himself, valiantly holding the can? Valiantly holding the can. Oh no, don't tell me wait till I hear the party vote, because this is a dog whistle to some people out there who think the National Party's got to stand. If it wasn't a dog whistle, they'd have it up in their own name. It's a dog whistle, though. And they think this sort of poll-driven survey politics will get them home, but it won't. And my question to the industries out there who think, especially the perishable industries like fishing and the milk industry, and they have got a very valid point. And I know as a former union delegate that this legislation that they are seeking to overset tonight is of use to less than 1% of the industrial workforce. That's a fact. The rest don't get these benefits because they aren't in the perishable business where a lockout hurts the boss more than the worker. These are the facts. And if you're going to be fair in industrial relations, join neither side. In the interests of the international economy, have a fair, lasting regime. So, in the next three speeches made by the National Party, and in Jamie Lee Ross's conclusion, I want an answer. New Zealand First is going to decide what we're going to do on this basis. And we want to know, does the government really support this legislation? And if that's true, why is it not in their name? And anything short of a proper debate on that sees this bill fail.
Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Member Mike Sabin.
Thank you, sir.